goes. I'm going to record this. And someone asked already, how long is the Zoom? We're scheduled for an hour. For everyone here, we're going to do, this is Netcapital's March demo day. We've got 3 awesome companies here for you. We've got Pixie Plus, Rejuve Bio, and Impact 11. The way the format's going to work is we're going to have all 3 pitch. It'll be about a 5-minute pitch for each company, followed by 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A, depending on what we have time for and what the appetite is for all you investors who are listening today. So have your questions ready. If you have any questions for any of the entrepreneurs, please either put them in the Q&A function that you'll see at the bottom of your screen on Zoom or in the chat. Either way, we'll try to get to everybody as quickly as we can. And we'll try to hopefully have enough time for all the questions. We will try to circle back at the end of the Zoom if we have a little bit of time to let people ask questions of all 3 teams, just to make sure there's time. So with that, it looks like we've got a critical mass. Thanks everyone for joining, and I'll officially kick us off here. So welcome everybody. My name is Rob Burnett. I'm the CEO here at the Netcapital Funding Portal. And today is our March demo day. We've got 3 companies here with us. They're going to share their companies. They're going to pitch to you all. And it's your job and opportunity to ask them questions, dig into their companies, ask whatever you feel like is important for you as you look at these companies and perhaps make some investment decisions. We're going to start with Pixie Plus, then we're going to go on to Rejuve Bio, and we're going to finish up with Impact 11. I'll do my best to try to put links to these companies' offering pages on Netcapital into the chats as we go along, but you all can find more information about their investment opportunities on netcapital.com. Also, for anyone who's watching this as a recording, again, you can go to netcapital.com. And if anyone has questions of any of these companies going forward, each Netcapital page has a discussion board where you can ask questions there. And I'm sure all these teams would be happy to answer them there. And if anyone has any questions about Netcapital, you can always reach out to us. We've got our contact information on netcapital.com. But the easiest way to get in touch with us is an email to team@netcapital.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We try to do that within a day or 2. So with that, we're going to kick it off with Pixie Plus. Brett, welcome. Thanks for being here. Why don't you take it away?
All right, thanks, Rob. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Can you enable it, please?
Yep, I will try. I don't know why it's... Sorry, classic Zoom. That's on me. Here we go. Now it should be allowed to do it.
Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay. You know, it's better than a seance where you can hear somebody, you can't see them.
Exactly.
Okay, can you see my screen, Rob?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, great. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Brett Bergen, and I'm a streamaholic. I'm also the CEO and founder of Pixie Plus, an app for your phone that makes it easy to find the next great movie or show to watch. So the problem that we solve is simple. Searching your streaming services for what to watch next is often painful and time-consuming. And searching for what to watch next for 2 or more people is a nightmare. And with the average American watching over 20 hours of movies and shows per week, it's a problem many of us experience weekly, if not daily. So why now? You know, why this company? Why now? 85% of US households stream today with an average of 4 subscriptions. After it all began with Netflix nearly 17 years ago, if you can believe it's been that long already. So with so many choices, it's no wonder 60% of streamers like us are regularly frustrated when searching for what to watch. 67% want to find content in just one place, and 56% want more personalized content. And while there have been a few content aggregators out there for years, chances are you haven't heard of them. And we believe that if they solved the problem, you would have. And we wouldn't see such a high level of frustration affecting over 100 million Americans and many more abroad. So our solution is to give the people what they want. Pixie Plus lets you easily find personalized movies and shows to watch next across all of your streaming apps in one place. Not just for you, but for you and whomever you're watching with. So that's a really key feature. We also make it fun and easy to share the movies and shows you love with your friends and the community. So this next slide, it's more of a teaser. The first version of our app is complete and we're wrapping up testing. We have a link to our 3.5-minute demo video for anyone who's interested. I can throw that in the chat right after this presentation. It's also on our discussion board on our Netcapital page. So about the market, it's relatively untapped, and it's a very large market with over 100 million Americans and almost 2 billion people worldwide who are frustrated searching for what to watch next on the streaming apps. The number of people actually streaming is much higher, but when we apply that 60% frustration statistic, that's what we get. So our business model, we plan to begin monetization with targeted advertisements for new movies, streaming services, food delivery, and other products and services related to cinema, as well as affiliate fees for new streaming app signups. And so that's over here on the left side of our business model here. So our estimated annual revenue from ads and affiliate fees in the US is $10.36 per user. That's per year, and an average of $3.92 per user internationally. And so together we calculate a total potential market of 6.8 billion in annual revenues for our service. Again, that's potential, if we can serve that whole market. So we plan to later add a premium version of Pixie Plus that you can pay for and integrate theater ticket sales for percent of sales fee. We believe these additional revenue streams can be significant, if not more than our ad and affiliate business. And so this is on the right side of our slide here. And so the average paid app subscription, for instance, is $10.20 a month. So people are willing to pay quite a bit for premium app. And global box office sales in 2023 were 9 billion in the US and 30 billion abroad. So, percent of sales, we're not going to capture all of that market, but we can collect quite a fee from that. So here's what the business model looks like visually, right, inside the app. This is how we'd incorporate and seamlessly, put these advertisements right into the app. On the home screen over here on the left, next to the right on the search screen, you can see in the yellow arrow the other area for a promotion, and as well as in your profile and in your messages and occasional promoted service. So this is or ads can be highly targeted, just like they are on Facebook, based on age, preferences, and existing streaming services. So imagine Hulu wants to do a campaign, and they want to do a campaign with us. If they did it on TV, they have no idea who already is a Hulu user. It's a lot of cannibalization. But if they work with us, they can do a promotion specifically for people who do not have Hulu, and maybe they are a certain age, and they like certain types of genres. Maybe they like certain type of actors or actresses that people have favorited, and they can really get highly targeted there. So the team is Marvin and I. We're the co-founders of Pixie Plus. We're veteran entrepreneurs and bring all the important skills to the table to make Pixie Plus successful. So I have a master's in applied analytics from Columbia University. I'm skilled at designing mobile apps, and I've spent my career as a business, financial, and contract manager for high-tech software and hardware projects. My technical co-founder, Marvin, he's an experienced full-stack developer with a master's in computer science from Johns Hopkins. He specializes in cloud and backend development, data engineering and security, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and data analytics. He's been a founding engineer at multiple startups and a machine learning data engineer at Meta. So the takeaway from this slide here on competition is that there's a good reason why so many people continue to be frustrated. We haven't found a single service or competitor that actually solves all the customer pain points that people have. People still have to go a variety of places to get what they're looking for. And these services also lack social discovery features that reflect how we all organically share good movies and shows with one another. Additionally, the social aspect of Pixie Plus is not only a major differentiating factor among our competition, but it really makes it painful for customers to switch to a competitor due to the network effect, just like it would be if you're trying to leave a social media service. It's possible it takes a long time, and it's tough because you have to move your whole network over with you. So finally, use of funds. So what are we raising? What's this for? So we've already raised, as of today, about $182,000 between our crowdfunding campaign on Netcapital and angel investors, which we estimate is the minimum we need to launch and run the app for the next year. And we're now gearing up to do just that. So that's just fantastic news. We landed that extra 100,000 this week. So we're really excited about moving forward to the next steps. And we'll continue to raise up to our 375,000 maximum this round to extend our runway from 1 year to 18 months, which is a standard for startups, and to continually release new features as opposed to just capping it now and just going with the features we have. We want to keep releasing features on our roadmap. So I appreciate your time and happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Brett. So if anyone has any questions for Brett, please put them in the Q&A, but I can kick us off. So Brett, first and foremost, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Why this problem? How'd you decide to start this company?
So I know I talked about why now, why this problem. So I can go a little more personal and how this really started, the origin story. me and my wife, like I said at the beginning, I'm a streamaholic. Me and my wife, like many Americans, we suffer from streamaholism. We love our movies and shows. But it's one thing I want to watch certain things like Vikings and war movies, and she wants to watch other things, like Andy Cohen, Bravo kind of stuff. And so it always takes a while for us to find something that we both want to watch together. And it was like weekly for years where we would spend an hour, 2 hours trying to find the next thing to watch. We'd binge it and we'd be right back to where we started. And so it's just getting really frustrating. And being an entrepreneur at heart, I've done a few other ventures. I just started to tackle this problem, just seeing if I could create something better than what was out there. And I started to be very successful in designing a solution. And it kind of took off from there, especially after talking to neighbors, friends, family, really everybody I spoke to who said, yes, we have the same problem. They even had names for it. One person said it's like the hour of doom scrolling they have with their wife that they dread. So that's a really key differentiating factor, being able to search with more than one person. You can connect with somebody on this app, unlike any other app. I can connect with you, Rob. When we celebrate the end of our raise, we can have a movie night together, and you can be on Pixie Plus, and I can say add Rob to my search, and it'll instantly match with everything that Pixie Plus believes we would enjoy watching together. And you can do that with one other person, a group. So later we're going to add proxy kid accounts, so you can add, your kids find something appropriate for everybody, things like that.
I'm in. I'm looking forward to the movie night. Um, so you talked about kind of being ready to launch the app and get out there. What's the kind of go-to-market strategy? How do you plan to get new users or first-time users?
Yeah, so at least at the beginning, you know, the most successful path that I have read about in multiple, entrepreneur books, I've been mentored by other successful entrepreneurs, is you need to start with a small user base of between 200 and 1,000. And you work with these users at the beginning in your beta to make sure that you are listening to their needs, or for, anything that's broken, or and anything that they want to lean into more, anything that they're not really using. Look at the user data, and determine, what is the best way to serve, this small yet large sample set of users until people are telling you this is amazing and I want to share this with everybody. So that then you have your initial community of 200 to 1,000 brand ambassadors, really. And Pixie being a naturally social app, people will want to connect with everyone in their household because they watch together. They are going to naturally bring this up in conversations with their friends and family because everyone talks about what they're watching now. And that's the moment where someone says, oh yeah, let me tell you about this new app that that I just downloaded and I want to connect with you on. And it's easy to click a button and share it with somebody. So at least initially, we're really focusing on the organic, um, that organic drive, and just based on a very conservative model of growth, just from that route, we hit very, um, we believe we'll hit very fantastic goals with user growth. But we've also been testing our marketing messaging on Facebook with various ads, and we found, so the average campaign gets a 1% click-through rate. A good one is 2. A fantastic one is 3 to 4% click-through rate. We're getting 10%. 10%. So our cost per user acquisition, if we wanted to really lean into the social media marketing, is going to really excel as well. And we're also going to be pursuing press releases, get in the press as much as possible, get on TV if we can, really mass market this to a large audience. We don't have to be so refined and niche in our approach because this is such a large scale problem. You just need to tell people about it, that it's there, that's ready to download, and it's free. So that's our initial go-to.
Very cool. Well, we've got a couple of questions from the crowd here. So the first question is, when will the app be available? Will there be a beta test phase?
There will be a beta test phase. We're doing something called usability testing right now. It's when statistically, you just need 5 to just use the app, try to break it, find issues, and incorporate feedback. We're actually in 45 minutes, that's our next meeting, to go over the latest feedback and incorporate what we found. And once we get that to good point, then we're going to do beta. We have several hundred people already signed up. That was our goal. And then we're going to begin that phase. And then really once we're at a point where everyone's satisfied, we're satisfied, we're going to launch it. And if that's going to be a day, a week, a month, it's really just going to be as soon as we get that feedback from the community that this is something that they're excited about and they want to share with others.
Great. And we got a couple more questions. So anyone who's got any questions for Brett, please throw them in now. We had another question about how can I get a demo?
The demo video, which is the most efficient way to do this while we're still in private usability testing, is, I don't know, am I allowed to share something on chat?
Yeah, throw it in the chat, Brett. That's fine.
Great. So here is our demo video, 3.5 minutes. And then also, if you can, hold on, go to our website. I also just put it there, pixieplus.com. And the very first thing you'll see is the ability to sign up for early access, on the wait list. So pop on there. And then as soon as we're ready, we'll invite you to that. But you can also get that sneak peek on that YouTube link.
Perfect. Yeah. So anyone who wants to, it's in the chat here, and we'll include that in the links as well. And then
now, I will say,
go ahead.
if you are an accredited investor and plan on, you want to write a large check, you can reach out to me directly, and I'll have white glove service, and we'll download it on your phone, and you can mess with it. Which that's what landed us the 100,000 this past week.
That's great. And then is the app like another remote? It's another user question.
That is on our roadmap. Yes, it will. We want you to be able to click a button and play to your smart device that shares a Wi-Fi. We have the ability right now with the data to be able to play right to your phone, which we'll set up, in the near future. But getting it to play to your TV, that's just a little bit more of a step. But we want to do that. That's in the near term.
Great. Well, we got, it looks like 2 final questions. I think that's all we're gonna have time for on this one. So someone asked, is it possible to set up multiple profiles? My biggest pain point is searching for streaming content. When searching for streaming content is finding content for my mother-in-law. She consumes a lot, but I don't want suggestions for what I want to find for her impacting my own suggestions.
Yes. So there's a couple ways to do this. One, your mother-in-law can make a Pixie Plus account, but we recognize that some people of a certain age might just not want to do that. And so if you heard me say earlier, real quickly, the ability to add proxy accounts for kids, we will also allow you to make proxy accounts for senior household members, senior family members, which you can add to your accounts. That isn't available right now because we are just trying to get the app for the most common use case, but that is actually on our roadmap.
Awesome. And Brett, as we finish up, what's a recommendation? What should we be watching? What's a hidden gem? What should I add to my streaming list?
Oh my God, my head is spinning. There's
only tough questions here, I tell you what.
Let me think about it, and I'll throw it in the chat.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Brett. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
I got it. Yep. Shogun. I'm really loving that. I love period pieces, and I really love Shogun.
Where can we find it?
Hulu.
All right. Very cool. Well, thanks. If anyone has any additional questions for Brett, go to the Pixie Plus page. Some alliteration for you, and ask it there. And there's a bunch more information. That information's in the chat. Brett, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, now we're going to transition on to Rejuve Bio with Kennedy and Ed from their team. While you guys are getting ready, there's one question in the chat that looks like it's more for Netcapital. I'll answer that as we transition. Someone asked, who can invest through your organization? I presume that's asking about Netcapital. If someone wants to clarify, please feel free to throw it in there. Netcapital aims to be open to everybody. So we're open to non-accredited investors. We're open to anyone who's eligible to invest. We do run some things like KYC checks, and we need to verify your identity and request some information from you because this is a sale of securities. But if you're on here, we welcome you to come and invest. And if you have any specific questions about whether or not you're eligible, please shoot us a note at team@netcapital.com. But like I said, we aim to be open to everybody, so we hope that works. So now let's move on to Rejuve Bio. Kennedy and Edward here from the team. I'll let you guys take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kennedy Shaw. I'm the CEO of Rejuve Bio. Ed is here. Ed's my chief business strategist. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and run through our pitch deck. And then people can ask whatever questions they have later. Let's see. How do I do? Where's my presentation view? Okay. Slideshow. All right. Here we go. Okay, so as I said, Rejuve Bio, we are a advanced AI-based biotech company, advancing treatments for aging-related diseases geared towards improving healthy human longevity. So some people, it's kind of easy to, once you wrap your head around the fact that 90% of all chronic diseases are actually caused by the aging process. If you think as you get older, the diseases that you experience tend to go along with you advancing in years. Children don't get a whole lot of diseases. These causes have remained largely mysterious throughout human history, and this is something that we feel like we can tackle. We're at a really great inflection point now where our advancements in neurosymbolic AI research have culminated in the formation of our biomedical knowledge graph, which we call the bioatmospace. It is an advanced form of artificial intelligence that uses symbiotic learning, which means that it functions a lot more like a human brain. It's not like your average LLM that just kind of pattern matches and spits out what it thinks you want to hear based on the probability of the related words that you've used. This is actually something that can use multiple learning modes, multiple AI tools to fill in gaps, which we often have in biomedical research, and generate hypotheses and make inferences that can effectively guide research and reduce that failure rate in going from the lab to the clinic. One thing that's unique about Rejuve Bio is we have a proprietary longevity model. The Methuselah flies, I often refer to these guys as my first children. I've been taking care of them for about 20 years now. They are the result of a 43-year-long selective breeding experiment. So over the course of 400 generations of taking the longest lived flies and only allowing them to produce the next generation of flies, we have been able to extend their lifespan by about 8 times. So your normal fruit fly is on like a 2-week generation cycle, maxes out lifespan at like 4 to 6 weeks. Our flies are on like a 20-week generation cycle, max out lifespan at like 8 months. What's really, and just to give you an idea, an equivalent human experiment would take about 10,000 years. So we've done this one in 4 decades over the course of 400 generations. It's really cool to take over an experiment that's slightly older than I am. And what's great about it is we've isolated genes that we know are involved in the fly's longevity. And we have a lot of human orthologs. So those are genes that are conserved in both sequence and function across species. The genome as a whole, humans share about 70% of our genome with fruit flies. And in particular, the ways in which we age are very similar. The flies combined with our advanced AI model and some other convergence of other technologies that we plan on using to bolster our research, such as crowdsourced human data, our high throughput R&D, which the flies, even though they have a really long lifespan, they still live relatively short compared to humans. A decentralized AI-specific infrastructure, which gives us access to AI and biomedical experts across the world. Kind of come together to support Rejuve Bio and our 3 revenue streams that we see available to us, such as therapeutics that are aimed at prevention, real science-backed therapeutics, longevity therapeutics that are aimed at disease mitigation. Supplements would be the preventative route, and then our data model licensing. So the licensing of our actual platform to other research institutions, pharma companies to speed up their own R&D. This is our little proof of concept that we have going through the past. We actually, about 10 years ago, were able to use a primitive form of the AI we have now to identify substances that were most likely to act on genes involved in neurodegeneration. In this case, Alzheimer's disease. We also tested it for Parkinson's disease as well. So this is an assay that we use with the flies where we measure their crawling ability as well as their lifespan. And as the disease progresses, you see they start crawling slower and they die much quicker. And then on the control trajectory, you see this like nice kind of smooth line. Well, giving them our AI identified supplements, we were able to make them look much more like the control flies. We then were able to get an IRB approved study and move this into the clinic. So we took this AI developed supplement that we tested in our flies and joined forces with an Alzheimer's clinician, a doctor at Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach, and actually just added this supplement to about 30 patients' standard of care that they were on for their Alzheimer's disease. All these patients fell into the mild to moderate category, and just adding this supplement to their normal regimen of drugs, they were able to preserve cognitive function over the course of a 15-month study, far above the trajectory in decline that we would expect. So now our AI, of course, is much more advanced. We have a lot more data available to us. We think that we can do this better, faster for more diseases and help more people. Just an idea of market size. We have both B2B and B2C ambitions. On the B2B side, there's 3,100 biotech startups, in addition to pharma companies, other research institutions that need advanced AI tooling for their own in-house research, hypothesis generation, et cetera. On the customer side, we anticipate there's about 1.6 billion people out there who are poised to become early adopters, who are health conscious people interested in preventative medicines, or if they're already aware of an aging-related disease that they might have, are disease mitigating solutions. So I kind of cheekily say that the global longevity market is 8 billion people because that's how many people are in the world, and we're all aging. Just one FDA approved drug for Alzheimer's disease carries an estimated market value of $43.5 billion. So that's one aging related disease. That's one indication. Remember, I said 90% of all chronic diseases are caused by the aging process. So if we were able to tackle more of those aging related diseases and even tackle the aging as a process itself and thereby solve more diseases, that's a very large market. This is where we sit on the competitive landscape.
And just a heads up, Kennedy, we're a little over time, so you can keep going,
okay,
but it'll just cut into the Q&A.
Yeah, this is the last really important stuff. So our competitive landscape, these are other AI biotech companies. We have the most advanced AI with the best research and development speed. This is just my team, my advisors, use of funds. People can ask more questions about that, our relative roadmap, and then there's me. But yeah, so if anybody wants a copy of the deck, you're more than welcome to have it. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Kennedy. I know there's a ton of information you guys have to present. Sometimes it's hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard to do a biotech pitch in 5 minutes.
Well, great. If anyone's got questions, let's throw them in now. We've got one to kick us off.
Okay.
Someone asked, do you sell anti-aging supplements you've already developed? And then also, have you tested fly data to confirm it is in fact related to humans?
So we do have our Alzheimer's supplement, which is also a memory supplement that people can take preventatively. I'm in the process of formally acquiring the license to that because that was developed with my first biotech company, for which I was just the lab director for. So I did actually do all those experiments and do the human trials and everything like that. So we're formally acquiring the license to that drug, but it will be out once we get funding. We anticipate having that on the market in 6 months, and then identifying another several targets to produce supplements for over the next 1.5 years. And then the question about testing to see if fly genomics were similar to humans. So that's where the AI helps us. We do know that flies have a lot of orthologous genes with humans, as I said before. One thing that we did kind of do as a unique little proof of concept is that we did test Momentin in the flies, which is a common Alzheimer's drug, just to see if it had any effect on our Alzheimer's model in the flies. And it did. It did help them live longer. It restored their crawling ability. And just like in humans, if you give them Momentin, it helps their memory a little bit and helps them function and makes their trajectory a little bit slower into Alzheimer's disease. So we did kind of see that sort of backwards feedback in taking an established FDA approved human drug and making sure it worked in our Alzheimer's flies. But as far as finding other commonalities, that's where the advanced AI comes in, really pinpointing those genes that we know are involved in fly longevity, as well as porting over to humans. And, we have some recent breakthroughs in research that we've identified some new targets that are very promising. So yeah.
Very cool. So we've got a couple of other questions here. So what are the first targets for Rejuve Bio? I presume that means maybe diseases or products. Maybe maybe the question's both.
Disease. Let's see. We'll go down the disease route first. So I mean, obviously, we've already done a lot of work in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. That's where we've done the bulk of our research to date. This is actually like a project. Like I said, I've been working on this for 20 years as a longevity biologist at this point. So I would like to see that come to fruition, especially taking the supplement we already developed and parsing that down to the molecular level, seeing what the actual mechanisms of actions are, what biomarkers it affects, if there's pharmaceuticals that can be gleaned from that supplement as kind of a jumping off point, we'd like to do that. But we also have promising avenues to look at for circadian rhythm disorders, metabolic disorders, muscle wasting disorders, just to name a few. So those are all, diseases that we think of when we think of what we go through as we age. And so those are all fair game for us.
Very cool. And as you think about on the product side, it sounds like maybe you're focusing more on supplements first, but how do therapeutics mix into that?
Right. Well, our very first product that will likely be launched is a licensing to the biomedical research platform. So an AI-based platform for other researchers to use for their own work. And what that platform will be able to do is basically construct custom knowledge graphs for researchers based on the data that they input into the platform, and will help them generate hypotheses to guide their research, make inferences that they might not have thought of. And we will be using that platform in-house to further develop actual science-backed supplements of a preventative nature. Now, downstream going to pharmaceutical development, we will be seeking big pharma partners to help us in that development for actual FDA-approved pharmaceuticals.
Great. And it looks like we've got one or two more questions. What has been the prior funding for the company?
The prior funding for the company has been incubated by SingularityNet, which is a decentralized AI ecosystem. They have a bunch of spin-off companies that are all use the central neurosymbolic advanced AI platform and marketplace. And so they have been incubating us for the last 2 years, although Ben Gertzel, who's the CEO of SingularityNet and also my chief AI scientist, is somebody I have been working on this project with since 2008. And so that's kind of how I got brought into the SingularityNet ecosystem. So they've been incubating us thus far until we achieve adequate funding on our own. And then was there a second part to that question?
Nope, there was only one part to that question.
Okay.
I think the last question we have from a couple different people are basically, where can we get the deck? And what I'll say for everybody here is these demo days are always meant to be a little bit of teasers. All these companies will make themselves available to you, and you can always ask them questions on the Netcapital. So obviously the goal isn't to get everything here; it's to get the teaser so you guys can go learn more. But how can people get the deck?
Email me. There's my email address, kennedy.shaw@rejuve.bio. So I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. So thank you all for listening.
Great. And anyone who's put their one more seemingly advanced question. Let's see, we got time for it.
Okay.
Can you remove advanced glycation end products from the body?
Can we remove advanced glycation end products from the body? Hopefully, we're not quite there yet, but that is absolutely a goal. That's a very technical question, but
For the rest of us, who don't know what that means, can you give us a layman's version of what the question was?
um, hold on. Wow, I wasn't prepared for that question. Advanced glycation products. No, I can't actually. I'll have to get back to people.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it, Kennedy. That was perfect.
Okay.
So anyone who put their email in the chat asking for the deck, we've recorded that. So just so you know, that's there. Kennedy and Edward will send that over to you.
Okay.
Kennedy, if you want to put your email in the chat, you're welcome to. The people can send the
Sure.
request there as well.
Right.
And that brings us to our last pitch of the day. Jordan from Impact 11. Jordan, thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Nice to meet everyone. I'll run through a few things and I'll share a few slides in just a moment. And then, of course, happy to take any questions. So my name is Jordan Broad. I'm the CEO and co-founder of this thing we call Impact 11. Personally, I've been in the thought leadership business now in one way or another since about 2010. I founded really the precursor to this business with a business partner in 2017, had a different name. And then we transitioned over to Impact 11 in 2021, where we really started taking this more seriously and took it from something that was just sort of like a fun side project to something that like, all right, we can rapidly grow this business. To give you a sense of it, we've been on the Netcapital platform for a while, so I'm going to give you a little more current numbers than are there. We did about just over $5 million in revenue last year in 2023, and we'll do just over 7.5 or so this year. EBITDA positive, cash flow positive. And we're doing about 2.46 million in ARR based on our growing community subscription business, which I'll dive into in just a moment. And then just a little more on the offering, raising $1.23 million at a $20 million pre-money valuation. Thanks to the Netcapital platform, we've done about 670,000 raised so far. I got about another 150 or so soft circled. And this particular round ends coming up at the end of April. So a little more than a month left to go. Part of the reason for this round is just some additional working capital as we continue to grow rapidly, and some investment in our product roadmaps, particularly tech-related projects that we're working on. And then we are very likely going to do a larger raise later this year. Obviously, no promises, no commitments, hard to know, but at least what we're thinking right now is like a larger $5 million raise. At about a $40 million pre-money valuation. So our founding partners and our team have decades of experience building thought leadership businesses, the highest levels, and growing and scaling companies, and selling them for very large numbers, 8- and 9-figure exits. But essentially, Impact 11 is about helping two kinds of people. We help people who are already thought leaders, people who are already professional paid keynote speakers who are out delivering opening and closing keynotes to some of the largest corporations, nonprofits, educations, associations, et cetera. And then that's about half of our client base, and about half of them are people that have not yet done that, but are interested in doing it. Usually we call them like people of substance. So maybe they are a former Fortune 500 CEO, or they're a professional athlete, or they're an astronaut, or they sold their business, or they were it's very successful in the arts, or whatever it may be. And so those two audiences, regardless of where they are, from just starting to already very successful, we help them grow those businesses. And we do it a couple different ways. We host boot camps, which we've been famous for many, many years. It's an event that we do 4 times a year. People come out, they spend 2.5 days with us and a bunch of bureau agents, people that tend to book highest dollar keynote speaking gigs, and we teach them everything there is to know about the business, both if they're completely new to it or wherever they are in the journey. We have a lot of different breakouts and things like that. Very high event. I'll show you a couple pics in a moment. We charge about $6,500 for that 2.5-day experience and do it with hundreds and hundreds of people every single year. We also have a community product that people join for between $15,000 and $23,000 a year. Gives them access to things like boot camps, but also gives them access to 4 annual masterclasses, full-day deep dives into a very specific topic on thought leadership. Could be sales and distribution, could be branding and marketing, could be positioning, could be a million different things. And they get access to a bunch of virtual events, the incredible tech platform. It's open houses we run all over the country all the time, 10 to 12 times a year, both the US and Canada. So very, very happy client base. NPS scores are in the mid to upper 90s. We really don't have any detractors ever. Very high retention rates. target addressable market in the pro speaking business. There's no official like kind of statistic out there, but it's about a $6 billion a year business in the United States alone, which is very exciting. There's no one really doing what we're doing, or certainly doing on the scale that we're doing it and considering continuing to do it at. But what's also interesting is while we focus traditionally a lot on people who are thought leaders, we're also beginning to focus on people who are just interested in having greater influence from the platform, and they're speaking as an executive in an organization. So these are people who can be anywhere from mid-market up through senior executives who are trying to get better at their stage presence, and trying to get better at their executive presence, and trying to get better at storytelling, and trying to get better at persuasion. And so we're not using the part where you monetize it for them, but we're starting to use the part where we coach them to just be better at their roles and better in their careers and in life. And we have some live events that are starting this year. We do a bunch of coaching consulting projects with them. So that has the potential to actually be a much, much bigger business, even though this one's doing nicely already. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly here, if it'll let me. Yep. I'll just show you a couple highlights to take a look at. So I mentioned our boot camps. This is a shot of what those look like. These are the things that we do every 3 months around the US and Canada. So very high-end experiences, multiple rooms, top-notch AV, etc. Awesome experience all around. Evenings, dinners. It's really a fantastic thing. We're really strong in this particular area. I think there's a couple more shots of different boot camps that we run in different places to give you an idea of that. These are the agenda. This one happens to be boot camp, but we also do this for masterclass. So these, again, are people that are paying high dollar values, either to come on a one-off basis or also as part of a subscription to come experience everything that they need to know about growing their business, and really getting to spend time with people that are going through the experience they are. It's interesting when you're a professional paid keynote speaker, no one really understands what your life is like except someone else in this space. And we give them an opportunity to really enjoy their life and grow their lives together with these folks. These are just some examples of weekly sessions that we run. We run 2 sessions every single week for our community with a variety of different presenters in the industry on all kinds of different topics and things they can do. In fact, there's one going on, literally normally I'm on it right now, that we're doing right now with someone who's talking about strategy in their business. So that's a very exciting thing for all of these folks. And then this is a shot of some of our community members. So these are just a handful of the many people that we spend time with every single week, and together 4+ times a year. Quick shot of our awesome team, variety of backgrounds, 4 thought leaders that have multi-million-dollar annual speaking businesses and have built many other businesses. Someone is chief revenue officer for a large agency. Someone else who actually runs a venture fund. Someone else who had a couple very large consulting businesses, one which he sold, one which he still runs. And then a strong team from both inside and outside of the speaking industry that helps manage really growing these businesses and practices for our clients. Few examples of the clients that are just our team alone has presented to, both on corporate coaching and consulting, but also in the speaking work that they do. And this is literally just in the last couple of years. So it's a wide variety of mostly US and Canadian based, but some overseas businesses as well. And that is the Quick Impact 11 story. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Thanks, Jordan. As we get into it, and if anyone's got any final questions, please throw them in. How did you get into this?
Yeah, so one of our founding partners, a guy named Josh Linkner, who, Rob, I think you actually know and had a relationship with before, if I remember. We worked together for about 10 years. He had founded a tech startup, the tech and marketing really startup. I was the 5th person. We stayed there for about 10 years. Company was sold in a private equity deal. There was about 500 of us when we left, and he was trying to actually make a decision, going like, hey, do I start a venture fund or do I really take professional speaking seriously? And I was trying to figure out what I was doing next. So I was doing some consulting projects, and I'm like, hey, if you're willing to go on the road and speak, I think I can figure out this speaking thing. Like, how hard could that possibly be? Of course, neither of us had any clue what we were doing, and like screwed up a bunch of stuff. But as we got a few years into it, we grew his business significantly. And after a few years, he was doing like, I think he did 100 in 2016, he did 163 engagements around the world at an average fee of $35,000 a speech. So as that grew, people reached out to us all the time. And we're like, hey, can I buy you a drink or a coffee or take you to dinner? I want to learn. And we have a very much of an abundance mindset. We always want to help, but we couldn't help as much as we wanted to. So we threw together a boot camp for a day, said, hey, come enjoy. Like, we'll charge you a little bit of money just to cover our cost for food and the room and we'll share this. And one thing led to another, and it kind of caught on and grew. And we've been helping people ever since, really now for almost 7 years officially doing this, but really the last 2 to 3 at this kind of a pace.
That's awesome. And so you obviously do your in-person events. Do you also, how does virtual play into it with like those kind of weekly events and other things?
Yeah. So we do 2 weekly events always. Like every Wednesday, we have some outside, it could be an expert from our team, but often an outside expert on a particular topic who comes and teaches that. Every Friday, we get together as a group. So both as an entire community having a conversation, and then in breakout rooms, our speakers are split up by bands. So 4 different levels, from like, I'm just starting, I have no clue, to I do millions of dollars a year in speaking. And of course, the stages in between that. And that's an opportunity for people to share wins and their challenges. And it's amazing how vulnerable people get, and this is really has become their family. Of course, everything we do at live events is recorded, many of it streams. So depending upon where they are and the membership they have, they may be joining in person, or they may be joining while they're in Munich, Germany, just waiting to do a sound check or something. It's kind of fun to see where people travel.
That's really cool. And so obviously you talked about the community. You've got the live events. Can you give us just a little breakdown of what the kind of business model is, what it looks like, what are the various revenue streams?
Yeah, so a few revenue streams. The biggest and biggest growing is our community. It's something we found it's very popular, but it's also subscription-based revenue, which of course is very exciting from a business and investments standpoint. So we're trying to get more and more of those people transition to that. So that's about half our business. It'll be, I don't know, $3.8 million, $3.9 million or so this year. The other part is split up through a few different things. Some of the new corporate stuff that we're doing, the boot camps. We have people that come to boot camp and don't choose to join community, although it's a lower and lower percentage. That does happen for financial reasons, or they decide it's not a fit. And so we have some event revenue that way. We have a number of partnerships. Like one of the things that people need as part of this business, a part of building a professional thought leadership and speaking business, is they need video and they need websites, they need photography and we have a lot of close partnerships that with other organizations that do great work that give us referral fees. And then we still do some like high-end coaching and consulting development type work. So someone might go ahead and say, pay us $35,000, $40,000 to help them build a keynote or help them position themselves in the marketplace or guide them. And we don't, I wouldn't say we shy away from that, but we tend to keep that at a pretty high price point because we want more and more of our business to be community and subscription revenue than it is to be like professional services.
Yeah, and how do you find your coaches?
Our coaches mostly so our coaches mostly come to us from the industry that we've been part of. So we've been because I and others have been privileged to work in this industry for quite a while now. We've developed relationships from everyone from really thousands of meeting planners to hundreds of speaker bureau agents, the agents that book the top dollar keynote speeches around the world. And so we're involved at their association, ISB, as members and sponsors. And so a lot of times those people who have a tendency to work really well and coaching individual speakers choose to want to do that more full-time and often come find us and say like, hey, what would it look like if I came to work with you to go ahead and do this? And so we've hired several people like that. And we have some people that we use part-time. It's actually one of all businesses have challenges. That one we've been fortunate enough is not one of the harder things that we have to deal with. So
very cool. And then so talk to me, what's the kind of end game for Impact 11? As you raise capital, what do you see the future for the business?
Yeah, so we've kind of always had this as sort of a North Star. We want 1,000 people in our community paying a minimum of $1,000 a month. They're already paying more than that, so the model's kind of moved beyond that. So we're at about 250 as of yesterday morning when I looked, 252, I think the number was. And 18 months ago, we were at 0. So that is on a kind of a rapidly growing pace. And we expect in, 2.5 or so years, we'll be maybe a little bit before that, but give or take 2.5 years, we'll be at 1,000 members. So that starts, when you're throwing off $1 million a month in revenue just in a subscription, it becomes pretty sexy at that point. And so that's kind of the North Star. But there's a lot of other, opportunities we're playing with our tech platform and this thing that we launched just recently where people can see where other speakers are so they can meet up in other cities. And the whole corporate thing is just really getting started and has the potential to be much larger. So I feel like there's a lot of good other opportunities in the track, but that is our main thing that we're focused on here and, takes most of our brain power each and every day.
Oh, Classic mute. Just a couple more questions, but a reminder to everybody, we're about to wrap up. So any last questions for anybody, throw them in the chat and we'll get them here at the end. So two more quick questions. Any good advice for people who are public speaking? What's like the one thing that give us a taste of the product?
For someone who's looking to get into doing this business?
Sure, yeah. If you wanna go start engaging with people and on the public.
So there's a number of steps. The first thing that you really have to get clear on is like, what message is on your heart? What do you have a burning sensation or a calling to go share something to make the world a better place? Like we have nothing wrong with making money and building businesses. We love doing that. But the primary thing is that the individual feels that they have something they just have to share and get out there and passionately do it to go kind of improve our planet. And one, that's wonderful because you make a huge impact. But we find that when that happens, the business stuff just tends to be much, much more successful, and people go ahead and put the energy and effort into it. Sometimes people have a lot of messages, right? That's often like, I'm really passionate about this. I'm really passionate about that. I would encourage you to kind of have, kind of have a heart to heart to yourself and go on some long walks and think about what that really is. That's step one. Step two is once you figure out what that is, it's working with someone like us or someone in the industry to figure out what's commercially viable. Because you may be really passionate about mating habits of fruit flies and you love that, but no CEO is waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning going like, gosh, if I could solve this fruit fly mating problem, like that would be great. They have, so you want to figure out how to position that.
Actually.
Well, there you are, right?
That's a very apt, example.
I was thinking that. But for most other people, other than Kennedy and people in that industry, they're
it's just a narrow market. It's just a narrow market.
How do you take that passion and position it in such a way that it's in that what people are trying to solve? And that does change all the time. Like coming out of COVID, like there were some things that were into COVID and out of COVID that were all about future work and like just a huge focus on DEI. Not that that's not important or gone away, but it just doesn't have. Now it's like more about focus and profits have become popular and things like that. So you're constantly having to try and tweak it to get into the zeitgeist of where the demand is. If you can do those two things, then you build a business around it, and you can be quite successful.
Very cool. All right, last question, then we'll wrap up.
Sure.
Any speaker in particular you want to shout out from your community? Anyone who should be the first on someone's lips to hire? Anyone cool we should go listen to? Go look them up on YouTube.
Gosh, there's so many great speakers.
I know, I'll put you on the spot.
I can give you a few names of people that are just fantastic. They've really done the work. I'll give you two. There's a woman named Erin Stafford, ERIN, and then Stafford, STAFFORD. Just Google Erin Stafford speaker, you'll see it. She's a former healthcare executive. She came to us a couple of years ago, done some speaking in her industry, but like this is someone who has done the work and built an incredible speaking business and just continues to soar and thrive. She's fantastic. And she's still like, as much as her fees have gone up, she's still an incredible value. She's one of those people that I know just from experience. Like you just know that she might be, I don't know what her current fee is. Let's say it's $20,000. She's the kind of person that's going to be 50, 60, 70 in a few years. So get her now if you can. Another woman, Michelle Ann Johnson, 3 names. Michelle, like you think it's spelled, Ann, A-N-N-E, and Johnson, like you think it's spelled. Awesome leader, awesome thought leader, incredible business and non-business experience. She's also just so good on stage and has an amazing story to tell and really makes a difference in people's lives, drives tremendous impact. And also someone who's early and I can see is going to be just give it a couple years. So I could go on all day with hundreds of names, but those are 2 I come to mind, at least this moment.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it up there. We'll wrap it up there. Jordan, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
And thanks to all the panelists. I don't see any other questions in here, but thanks for everyone joining. Hopefully this was informative. 3 awesome companies here. Please take a moment to take a look at their offerings on Netcapital. All the links. Oh, actually, I will include the other 2 links. I've been so wrapped up in the presentations that I haven't included the links to the last 2, but we'll get those in there. We'll also be emailing this out. And if anyone's got additional questions for any of the panelists here today, you can email us, you can post on their discussion boards, and I know they've all made themselves available as well. Well, everyone, thanks again. We really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.